In the previous video, we customized the IDE. PyCharm has lots of ways to make it feel like home. Running Python code, though, means setting up a Python interpreter, an area where Python can be challenging. Maybe PyCharm can help me set up a project's local Python interpreter. Well, let's take a look. Hi, I'm Paul Everitt, JetBrains Developer Advocate, and welcome to our PyCharm Getting Started series. This Getting Started series is great, but our data shows 80% of you won't hear about the new videos because you haven't clicked the subscribe button. If you subscribe now, you'll get all that goodness delivered right to your doorstep. In the previous Getting Started video, we showed PyCharm getting configured to match your style, themes, layouts, key maps, and more customizations. Now though, it's time to run some code. We're going to talk about all the different ways you can configure a local Python interpreter in PyCharm. Support for remote interpreters is part of PyCharm Professional Edition only. Let's start now. When talking about local interpreters, PyCharm lets you configure it in two main ways. You can select and use your system interpreter, or you can create a virtual environment using Virtualenv or PipEnv or Conda, with poetry coming at the end of 2021. You just need to have a Python installation already set up on your local machine. Okay, so PyCharm lets you select your interpreter in three different points of your journey. First, you can select your interpreter when you create a new project. We already covered how to create a new project, but we overlooked the Python interpreter configuration. So I'll go to New Project. This is going to be of type Flask. As you can see here, when you create a new project, you need to choose between using a new environment or a new interpreter, creating a new environment, versus associating this project with a previously configured interpreter. We'll create a new one. The first thing you'll notice then is you need to choose from one of the Python packaging managers. Which one do you want to use? PyCharm comes with support for Virtualenv, PipEnv, and Conda, with poetry support being added in 2021.3. Let's see how to configure a local interpreter using Virtualenv. PyCharm will automatically identify the location where the Virtualenv folder will be created. You can change it by typing or clicking on the folder browse picker. Next, you need to choose the base interpreter you want to use. This new interpreter will be based on an existing one. In my case, it's Python 3.10. You can also choose another base interpreter from the drop-down list, or if the interpreter is on your system and doesn't appear in this list, you can click the three dots, bring up a file picker, navigate to the location of the Python executable on your system. You can leave the next two checkboxes unselected. To learn more about them, visit our documentation pages. The link is in the description for this video. You can also create a Virtualenv using PipEnv. Getting PipEnv installed on your system is an extra step. You can go to the website for PipEnv, scroll down to learn a little bit more about it, and follow the instructions for installing PipEnv. Once set up and visible to PyCharm, you can select it from the drop-down list. Same instructions apply about the base interpreter. Finally, you can also create a virtual environment using Conda. Make sure that Anaconda or Miniconda are downloaded and installed on your computer. Once I choose Conda from the dropdown, check if the location of the Conda executable is correct. Check to make sure the location where you want the virtual environment to go is correct, and check to make sure that the Python version that you're looking for is correct. The environment will be automatically created within your Anaconda installation, and that's it. You can leave the checkbox unmarked for now and read the documentation for more details. We just saw making a new interpreter and the various Python standards for doing so. Yeah, it's complicated, but once you know all that, the other ways we'll show fit right in. That's how you create a new virtual environment in PyCharm when setting up a new project. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you can also select an existing Python project that you haven't opened yet as a PyCharm project. Let's see how to do it. Back on the new project screen, click on previously configured interpreter. This prompts you with a drop-down. Behind the scenes, I have created a new interpreter and shared it with all projects. It's called Getting Started. If you don't see the interpreter listed that you're looking for, you see no interpreter, you can click on the three dots and then make a new interpreter from any of the options that you see here, such as Conda or PipEnv. That's a look at setting up an existing project interpreter for a new project. You can also configure remote interpreters, but this is the subject of our next video. Feel free to jump there if that's what you're looking for. Okay, enough about creating new projects. The second place you can configure an interpreter is when you clone a project from VCS. I have a Django project in my GitHub. It's a repository that has a requirements.txt file with the 2 Python packages that need to be installed to make this project work. Back in PyCharm on the Getting Started screen, I had clicked on the Get from Version Control button, and here I can paste the URL to that Git repository and accept the directory location that I want this project to be cloned into. And then once I'm ready, do the clone directly from inside the IDE. PyCharm will then open a new window with a new project with everything cloned from that URL, and all the software will be installed based on the requirements in the requirements.txt, and it will offer to create a new interpreter for me associated with this project in the location that I want the virtual environment to go into, and with the packages specified in requirements.txt. As you can see, cloning a remote repository is easy from the welcome screen. PyCharm does the cloning for you and then does some of the manual setup work. One last case to cover: changing the interpreter of an existing project. We have a cloned project open and PyCharm has a project interpreter for it. But what if we want to change the interpreter used by a project? Let's take a look. Now, as you can see in the bottom right of my screen, this project is using a Python 3.10 interpreter in the Django under tutorial virtual environment. We have 2 ways we can change this for an opened project. You can click the interpreter name in the status bar widget here. This will open a list of available interpreters, and it will also give you the opportunity to either open the interpreter settings or from right here, add a new interpreter. I usually use this shortcut, but you can also find the settings in your preferences or settings under Project Interpreter right here. You can select either an existing interpreter from this drop-down, and we see some of the interpreters that this PyCharm installation knows about. You can also click the gear icon, which gives you the option to add new interpreters or show all the interpreters that this PyCharm knows about. That's it. We just went through configuring local Python interpreters in PyCharm. I hope this was useful for you, but if you still have questions, ask them in the comments. In the next episode, we'll see how to configure remote interpreters in PyCharm. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any future updates.